this is Kathy, Crowder's Mountain, North Carolina. I hope that you guys will hang in here with me today. This one's going to be a little bit tricky to explain. Maybe some of these little snowflake pieces, but a subscriber sent me this picture, and she was having trouble getting the design down, and so I told her that I would do this, and I thought, well, I'll go ahead and put it on YouTube as well. So it's cold weather somewhere. It's supposed to be 80 degrees here in North Carolina today, so it was like 32 last week, so it's North Carolina, that's all I can say. But anyway, it's cold somewhere. Alright, let's get started. Now, you know I have this paper that I'm drawing on, and I'm using Sharpies so that you can see the pattern. And the only thing we have to do to start with now, it's real easy to start with. I say that a lot, I know it, but all we're going to do is divide our block into 3. So I've got 24 inches, 3 into 24 is 8. So I'm just marking it at 8 and 16. I don't know if you can see them little marks or not, but I'm just making little tick marks at 8 and 16. So that we can divide our board. Okay, 8 and 16. Now I'm using the back side of flip chart paper. You see, I've got the blocks here, it's 1-inch blocks. So if I was creating a pattern just for myself, I'd probably use that side, but you're not going to have that when you're creating it on your board. But now you can get some of that small graph paper. It's a lot cheaper, but I found folks like this flip chart paper to make their pattern the same size as their board, because once you get it drawn off, it's just easier to transfer it. But I mean, you don't have to do that. I didn't start off doing that, and I still use that 8.5 by 11 graph paper. Especially it's a more complicated pattern, because this stuff can get expensive. Alright, so we've got 3 blocks across and 3 blocks up, so this is actually a 9-block pattern. You'll hear people say that. Alright, now I think the easiest way, and let me show you this, you can see these 3 blocks. See? Now we're going to draw these, and that will create all of this. So now I could say that I could measure this and just tell you to draw it like that, but the easiest way is just come down 5 inches from each side, and then we'll worry about this line later. But right now we're just going to come down 5 inches on each side. I'll show you. Alright, see all of our sides here, we're coming 5 inches off of all of our lines. And I'm just making a tick mark. And that's where our little triangles are going to be. Now see, you could measure all the way across here, but you'll have to find the center of your board to do that. And so we're not going to do that. We're just drawing 5 inches. And I'll show you why in a minute. Let's see, yeah. All the way around. We're going 5 inches. Alright. Now let me show you what we're going to do. We got 5 inches. We didn't worry about this middle part. Just all these lines that's going out from the center. And then, alright, now see, I drew this grid in blue, so I'm going to draw my pattern in black. And you'll see that part of this is your pattern. And I wouldn't necessarily do that again if I wasn't trying to show you the pattern. So we're just going to connect our tick marks across here. We're going to connect them here. So this line is actually turned on a 24-inch quilt block. It's actually 18 inches, but you'd have to find the center of your board so that you can have 9 over here and 9 over here. But you can do it that way if you wanted to. Got my magic markers are screaming at me again this morning. Alright, so we've got that line. And now, alright, here's what's going to make all that design. So go up to the top, this first block, that tick mark that we made, and we're going to go down diagonally. We're going down to this block, the tick mark. And we're just going to draw that. Now we're going to turn it around. We're going from this one, the top right, to the bottom left. Now we're going to go, we're still up at this top. We're going all the way to the bottom again. Ooh, I moved. Alright, we'll do it here. So what you're doing is using these top ones and the bottom ones. Okay, do you see what we've got? We've got that pattern. See the blue? The light blue and the dark blue? That's what we've got. Now, let me go ahead and color that in. Take a screenshot of that. And I'm going to come in and color that in because I think it would be easier when I'm showing you the other points that we have to draw, like these blocks and the little snowflakey things. If this is colored in and you could see it. Alright, I'm going to color it in and I'll be right back. Okay, I've got that colored in for you so you can see it. Now before I forget to say this, in the center here, when you get yours drawn out in the center here, if you wanted to put your initial or a picture of a snowman or anything like that, a little decal or whatever, I think it's better to paint it, but if you had a stencil of a snowman, or you could just freehand it, either one, it's going to stay on there better if you actually paint it on there. But now, I have used the decal and stuck it on there. Like I'd put the first coat of sealer on, and then I would stick the decal down, and then I'd put 2 more coats of sealer on top of it, and they've stayed for years, so the couple that I've done that. Alright, enough of that center here. let me show you how I figured out how to do these marks. Alright, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that in red. Now, the way you know, you think when I did it the first time, I just come out straight here, but then it makes it crooked. So every one of them on my pattern was crooked. But here's how you do it. I finally figured it out. And we're going to make these points. That's what we're doing now. We're making these points of the snowflake. So you see this cross here, where it crossed in here? That's where we're going to center it up. Let me get my ruler straight. We're going to make sure we're centered with that mark, with that corner, and up here at the top of the triangle. And we're drawing a line 3 inches. Alright, we're going to do that on every one of these star points. I call them star points, y'all. Actually, this is the point of the snowflake, isn't it? And we're making them 3 inches. My big fat marker, so that y'all could see it. I'm using big fat markers, and it's kind of hard to get it right on the mark, but when you're doing yours, you know you're going to be using a heat erasable pen or whatever your favorite marking instrument is. Okay, now we've got our lines all the way around. Now that's 3 inches, right? So what we need to do now to make that diamond, you can cut out a stencil, like a diamond stencil that's 3 inches long. But what I'm doing, instead of doing that, I drew this 3 inches long, and now I'm going to make a tick mark. And I could have done that as I went around, but I'm going to make a tick mark at 1.5 all the way around, because we want to divide that line. I know I got my head in there at time. I'm making my tick mark at 1.5. Okay. Now, these lines, you can make it as big as you want to, but I made mine 1.5 inches wide. So let me see if I can find an easier way to tell you that. Alright, so I'm laying my ruler at 3/4 inches right here, right across that line, and I'm just drawing 1.5. So that's going to be 1.5. All right, I'm going to do it all the way around here, all the way around, and that line's going to be 1.5. Y'all, I'm still working on that other place over there to start filming that. I get busy, and then I think, man, I should have done that before I started I need to just stop and do it, don't I? But I have filmed over there, actually. I have filmed over there, but man, it just don't work out the way I got it set up. So I have to figure out something else. But this is my tried and true place, and I like the camera angle over here, and I'm at the window. So a lot of the natural light comes in, and it's according to what time of day. Like I got the overhead light on now, and you can see good. But there, a certain time of day, I have to turn that overhead light off because it makes a glare. And then when the seasons change, the sun comes up, you know, and I do it all over again, figure it all out. I get it. All right, now we made it these little crosses, right? Now that's how we're gonna make our diamond. It's just real simple. We're just gonna connect. See that? We're just gonna connect them. So the cross in the middle, that actually turns out to just be guidelines. So you're going to paint all that inside. I'll try to, if this gets too long, I'll fast forward this part. But all I'm doing is just connecting my lines. And that made my little diamonds. And you can do leaves if you're trying to make a pattern like the cardinal or something, and you want some leaves coming off the stem. You can do the leaves like that and just paint a dark, like on the left do a dark and the right would be light. And that would make a pretty leaf too. You probably saw those. One more. All right, now we got all those diamonds, see? See all those diamonds at the top? Now let's do these white ones. Okay, I'm not sure where that camera cut off at. Doing 1.5 inches all the way around. Every one of my lines, I am marking a tick mark at 1.5. So there's 1.5 on that line and 1.5 down here. You see that? All right, now I've already got it 1.5 here and 1.5 here. So what I need now, I'm lining it up over here with that tick mark that I already made. And I'm gonna make a tick mark at 1.5. Now I already got that tick mark. So all I gotta do is just draw. I already have that tick mark. And so I'm just drawing a square. See that? I'll push you in a little bit so you can see it better. So I already had that tick mark at 1.5. I've got it at 1.5 here. So I'm lining it up with this so I can make sure I get a straight line. And I'm making a tick mark at 1.5. And all I have to do is just connect it, see? I'm going to make sure I got it lined up over there. Alright, see that? So we've got our first 4 blocks. Now, I'm just going to keep the camera rolling so you can see this. It's 1.5 here, 1.5 here. Alright. Then I got 1.5 already up there. So all of our lines, I'm gonna line up at 1.5, and I'm gonna make a tick mark here, tick mark here at 1.5, and all I have to do is connect those lines. See that? Let's do it one more time up here. I got 1.5 here, 1.5 here, 1.5 here, and 1.5 here. So I'm lining it up over here. And I'm drawing it out, making a tick mark at 1.5. And then I can just draw it, see? And the same way up here. I'm lining it up over here, making a tick mark at 1.5, and then just draw it. And then line it up here. See, I didn't do it exactly right there, but it's more important to have those lines straight. All right, you see that? So there's your blocks. You might want to take a screenshot right there. Okay, now we need to do these little white things, little white flakes, part of our snowflake. Now, look at this corner here. This line from this block to the tip of our star point is 4 inches. So you want to make a tick mark at 2. But now this side, the one we measured out 5, see when you going out through here, you made it 5 inches, but when you drew from here to here, it became longer, right? So we had to adjust for that. But this line is 3.5. So you want to make a tick mark at 1 3/4. Now, I'll do it again right here. This one is 3.5, so I'm going to make it 1 3/4. So you make sure you measure that out. See, that one was 4 because it was longer. But these shorter ones that we did 5 inches are just 3.5. See that? That's 4. So we make the tick mark at 2. I made that in the wrong place. Here it is. Sorry. Your pattern's going to have some little extra tick marks placed, ain't it? It's 3.5. 1 3/4. Here. 1 3/4. 2. 2. You can do this. If I can figure it out, I know you can. Alright, so we've got it marked all the way around. And here's what we need to do. Here's what I did. Now you could go straight across like this, and I'll do one of them like that in case you'd rather have it that way. You want a 2-inch mark all the way across. So I just put it on one and drew right across. And then, you see where we made the tick mark just now? We're going to draw down to that. See that? Now, across here, you can't really do it because it don't line up. But we need 1 inch over here. And we need 1 inch over here. And we're going to draw down to their block. Alright, you see that made these. That's what we're making. But now, how I did it, because it looked kind of wonky on me, that don't look exactly right to me. I didn't like that. So here's what I did. I just tilted mine a little bit. I want 1 inch over here, and 1 over here, and 1 here, and 1 here. So I tilted mine just a little bit, and you don't have to be perfect. But I tilted my 1 inch, and then I drew down to that. And then I tilted it up again. Just a little bit. Don't have to be a lot. And don't have to be perfect. See, don't that look better than that? So that's the way I'm going to do it. And I would suggest you do it that way. It just looks better when you got it painted. See how that is? It just looks better. You can't see that, can you? See, it just looks better when it's tilted up. So that's what I'm going to do all the way around. I'll do one more for you. I just tilted it up 1 inch. I tilted that one up 1 inch. And then all we're going to do is draw from that end of that line down to where it meets the blue. And then we're going to draw from here down to where it meets that block. See? And that's your snowflakes. Alright. I may speed this up if the video gets too long. Okay, here you have it. You got your snowflake. Trying to make sure it's straight. Alright, take a screenshot. And you remember how we did these. That's 1 inch, and I just angled them up a little bit. Make your tick mark halfway. Now I didn't color in these blocks for you, but you could see where they're at. Alright, so take a screenshot. Take your screenshot of this one. And you'll have you a pretty snowflake when you're finished. You want me to show you what paints I used? Let me get that out. I used... Let me get them. Okay. So... for the blue, this blue and this blue, I used indigo cloth. But you could use a navy. If you like these colors, you could use a navy. Now for the blue here, I used North Holland blue, but I think any kind of a light blue color would look fine. And then for my white, I used Radisson, but any kind of a bright white would be pretty. And for my gray, I used Metropolis gray. But any light gray would be alright. Well, that's sort of a medium gray. Anyway, there she is. And hope you subscribe and join my channel. We've got 2350 something, I believe. That's cool, isn't it? I like that. And I appreciate all the words of encouragement that you guys give me that it just keeps me motivated and keeps me going. I love painting, and I would just, sometimes I just get caught up in just the painting and I forget I need to be making a video. So anyway, I appreciate all the words of encouragement, and it helps me to know that you find these videos helpful. So if you do, please leave me a comment or just hit the like button. That's fine. And hope you subscribe and hit the notification bell. And I'll see you all in the next video. Happy painting.